Hello everyone, I want to wish you a nice day, and I want to thank you for visiting Willie D's Kitchen, and I hope you do subscribe while you're on our channel. And we're going to show you a healthy recipe today with asparagus. Now we have some asparagus here, some nice asparagus spears, and I was thinking, how many asparagus recipes do I know? And there's not that many. Roasted asparagus, cream of asparagus soup, maybe some bacon wrapped asparagus, but not very many. But what we're going to do today is something I've been working on for a while now. We're going to do some crispy Parmesan crusted asparagus. And the good thing about this is they're baked. They have a nice crispy crust on them, and they taste delicious. So it checks all the boxes for what you would like for a nice side dish, or maybe a vegetarian snack. So I'm gonna show you our ingredients here. Of course, we have the asparagus spears, and we have some Parmesan cheese I got here, a chunk of cheese that we could grate off, and I have some Parmesan cheese here in this container as well, the grated Parmesan cheese there. And for our seasoning, we have half a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, half a teaspoon of granulated salt, and a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. That's our seasonings there. And I like to spice it up a little bit with an additional half a teaspoon of Cajun spice as well. So we have that, and then we have in this bowl here, we have 2 tablespoons of flour, and we're going to use that to coat our asparagus with first. And then we have, for our egg wash mixture, we have 1 egg there, and we have 1/3 cup of buttermilk. So we're going to mix these two together with just a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, and that's going to be our egg wash. And then for our crumb, to make a crispy crust, we have some breadcrumbs here, about 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs mixture in this dish here. So I'm going to show you how we get this done, and we're going to have some crispy, crunchy asparagus today. So stay tuned. Okay, so step number 1, the first thing I did is I washed off the asparagus, rinse it off with some cold water, get any dirt or anything that might be trapped in there out. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut it. I like to go about to right here. We don't want to go all the way to the end. I don't want the really tough stringy part at the end. So we're going to cut right here, just right down into the asparagus, just like that. I'm going to remove this. And what I have over here is I put the flour in this plastic bag. Now this is kind of old school. This is the way my mother used to do it. So what we would do is we would take the asparagus, we would put it right in this bag. So we have a plastic bag of flour and asparagus, and then we just shake it up, get everything nice and coated. Just like that. And now we're going to move on to step number 2. Okay, step number 2, we need to make some egg wash here. So we take our egg, crack it into the bowl, just like that. And we take our 1/3 cup of buttermilk, pour that right in there, just like this. We're gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper, just like that. Just a little to give it some seasoning. And then we're just going to mix this together. And it's going to look kind of thick, and that's good. Once we get everything mixed well, we're going to start breading our asparagus. Okay, now step number 3, we're gonna get our breading together here. So what I have is the breadcrumbs here. We're gonna add the Cajun spice. I add this separately because you don't have to add this if you don't want that real spicy kick to it. And if you want a real spicy kick, you can add even more than a tablespoon. Then we're gonna mix together our other dry spices here. Just mix that in the bowl. I'm gonna pour that right in here as well. Then I have my Parmesan cheese grated in the carton. I'm gonna put a nice heaping tablespoon of that in here. Maybe a little extra, but never have too much cheese. Next we have our block of Parmesan cheese. We're gonna grate some of that right in here. And this really kicks the flavor of this Parmesan cheese off the block. So there we go. So now we got our cheesy breadcrumbs here, and we're gonna mix those up. Just mix everything good. Make sure your seasoning is spread throughout the breadcrumb mixture and your cheese. And now I'm gonna get my breading station going. And we're gonna have some breaded asparagus. Okay, so what I just did is I washed my hands very good because now we're gonna bread up our asparagus tips. And what I have here is I have the egg wash that we made. We have our breadcrumbs here, and we have a sheet tray here with some parchment paper on top. And I sprayed the parchment paper with some non-stick vegetable oil. So first thing we do is get a couple of these asparagus. We put them in the egg wash. Transfer them to our breadcrumbs. I hope everybody can see this good. Just lightly toss them in the breadcrumbs and just place them right on the pan. Let me put it there so you can see it. Right on the pan, just like this. Let's do a couple more. Floured asparagus in the egg wash into the breadcrumbs and lightly toss. And we place on our baking sheet just like that. Easy peasy, anyone can do it. We're gonna do one more. Asparagus in the egg wash, in the breadcrumbs, and then on the bacon tray. Just like so. All right, so I'm gonna finish these up, and then I'll show you what the finished tray looks like. Okay everyone, we're about halfway through. Just wanted to show you how far we gotten here. And I'm doing these no more than 1 or 2 at a time so we can get a nice coating on them. And we just simply place them on a tray here. Just like that. And this is where the love comes in because it's gonna take a minute to get through all of these asparagus. And if you have a large family, you may wanna get someone to help you with the breading process. And then once we get to the end, we'll just start putting them on in this direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up, and then we'll be ready to go into the oven. Okay, so we have the asparagus in the Parmesan breading right now. You can see one bunch of asparagus is a whole tray. I actually had to lay a couple over here, maybe kind of on top of each other, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna let these set for about 10 minutes before I put them in the oven. The oven is at 380 degrees Fahrenheit. And we usually bake these between 15 to 18 minutes, depending on the oven. You want to check them, make sure they're nice and golden brown and crunchy before you remove them from the oven. Okay, everyone, let's just do a really quick recap of what we've done. We washed our asparagus, we put it in a bag with some flour, we floured the asparagus, we made our egg wash with the buttermilk and the egg and some seasoning, and then we made our breadcrumb mixture with the Parmesan cheese, the seasoning, and the breadcrumbs. We breaded our asparagus, and now they've been sitting on this tray here for about 10 minutes, and the reason I do that is because the eggs, the flour, and the breadcrumbs, we want them to get well acquainted with each other. And we want them to stick to the vegetable. When sometimes people will bread vegetables, they cook them, all of the breading comes off, and then you're left with just vegetables. So the process that we went through is so the breading will stick and they will be nice and crunchy when we take them out the oven. So 380 degree oven. I'm gonna set my timer for 15 minutes. As always, before I put them in, I just drizzle a little bit of olive oil right over the top. Give me a little bit of extra crunch. So we're going to the oven, 380 degrees for 15 minutes. Okay, we have our asparagus out of the oven. It's got a nice brown color on it. We're gonna let it cool down some, and then we're gonna prepare it for plating. Now, if you're not gonna serve this right away, you can put it over like a wire mesh so it doesn't get soggy or moist on the underside. Take it off of this sheet pan and put it on like a wire mesh so it can stand up and get some air underneath it. But we're gonna plate those up soon, so we're gonna just let it cool a bit and then we'll start plating. Okay, everybody, our asparagus is plated up. What I did is I put a little Green Goddess, my own homemade style Green Goddess dipping sauce over here on the side. It's basically some ranch with a lot of cilantro chutney inside of it. On the asparagus, we topped it off with some grated Parmesan cheese that we grated right over the top. And I just garnished with some tomatoes and some parsley. So what we're gonna do is first we're gonna take one of these and see, it does has a nice crispy crust on it there. We're gonna take a dip of our sauce and we're gonna give it a quick taste test here. I think it tastes great. You can see our breading is sticking to the vegetable. It's not falling off, so that's good. It tastes great. I think this will be a great treat for you, your family, your friends. If you want something on the healthy side, this is also great. We didn't fry it. It does have some breading on it, but it's still a vegetarian dish, and it tastes really good. I think anyone would enjoy this, especially when you look at how crispy our breadcrumb mixture came out. So I hope you enjoyed our recipe. Please give it a try at home. Let me know what you think about it. I want to thank you and have a good day.